The man pressed me against the wall, restraining my chin, and you knew to come back. Familiar and unfamiliar scent hits my face, mixed with a woman's perfume that I looked away. CEO Jason Carter, please behave yourself. My boyfriend is coming to pick me up later. I'll get the wrong idea. Heh. The man clenched his back teeth, his big hand against the back of my head. Out of the blue, Tina Taylor. I've been waiting for you for 6 years. And now you're telling me you have a boyfriend. Who is it? Bring it out to me. His eyes reddened at the ends and he embraced me forcefully, kissing my earlobe. I pushed him away and struggled to rub my earlobe. Jason Carter, you're sick. He reached up and rubbed my earlobe, his tone light. Yes, I'm just sick. Sick waiting for you for 6 years. Your new guy doesn't love you either. Letting you out this late to socialize with men. It had been a week since my meeting with Jason Carter when Joshua Summers came to me to complain. As soon as Joshua Summers arrived at the door of my apartment, he started to cry. Tina Taylor, you people here are so unfriendly. Do you have any idea how miserable I've been lately? I raised my eyebrows at him with a cup of hot water in my hand. How bad? This place is so full of newbies. Joshua Summers said as he sat next to me on the couch. I'll admit that my company is a bit of a powerhouse overseas, so do have a bit of a reputation. But what's the matter? I've only just returned to China to develop my company. And it's a new company, it won't have any effect on Carter Group. Joshua Summers paused for a moment and introduced me to Carter Group. You know Carter Group, right? Carter Group is a company without any background, and it has developed into a leading company by its hard power. That company is already in this position. I have not even developed yet. I can't threaten them in any way. That Carter Group's chairman, Jason Carter, has pressed my company hard to suppress it. I took a sip of hot water, then nodded my head in agreement. Well, it's really excessive, TT. I don't understand why Jason Carter is targeting my company like this. I haven't offended him either. Me. Maybe he has. Joshua Summers was so excited. Nonsense. I can't wait to lick him. How could I offend him? I'm not an idiot. I told him carefully, maybe because I'm offended. Joshua Summers looked at me with a you better get me straight face look on his face. Jason Carter is my ex-boyfriend plus first love. Joshua Summers became even more agitated. Then it's also you who offended him. What does he mean by taking it out on me? My company just opened and it's about to close down. I am also a foreign celebrity, so I'm not going to lose face when it gets out. I pulled him back and explained to him, because I told him that you are my current boyfriend. The air was quiet for a few seconds as Joshua Summers looked at me in disbelief. Slander. I'm going to tell Jason Carter, the CEO, right now that I like guys. He was about to leave when I yelled at him, no, you're not. I'll help you out. You'll help me out. I'll help you out. Joshua Summers was a real pain in the ass. Once he heard that I was going to help him out, he immediately focused on my past with Jason Carter. TT. How did you get involved with him? He's not someone we can afford to mess with right now. My eyes darkened, me and him. It's too big a relationship to get involved with. The first time I met Jason Carter, I was a freshman in high school, and he was a senior in my brother's class. He was in my brother's class, but he never got along with my brother, who was a big bullied AT that time. My family wasn't broke. I was rich, and I was still proud of myself. It was the first day of high school. I took the bento that my mom had made and walked into the senior building as my mom had told me to. I stood in the doorway of my senior class, hesitated, and gently tugged with my hand on the sleeve of the boy who was playing a game in the doorway. He was Jason Carter. He didn't stop his hand, didn't take his eyes off his cell phone, and didn't give me a single look. I listened to the murderous voice on the boy's cell phone and stiffly tugged on his sleeve again. Jason Carter's impatience seemed to be ignited by this action. A sentence, "Pull your mom's pull stuck in my mouth, was hurriedly interrupted by me. Student, I'm sorry, I may have to bother you for a moment. I am looking for someone. I stood hesitantly in front of him, secretly raising my eyes to measure him. Jason Carter had a dry-inch head, a straight nose, and a notched eyebrow, giving him a fierce look. I read a book about face reading. The book said, "Born notched eyebrow men, they are born cool, but their life is also full of suffering." Jason Carter didn't say anything, just looked at me with his dark eyes. I thought he was mean and was hesitant to ask someone else. He spoke at a leisurely pace. "Kiddo, looking for someone." His voice was LOW. I am not a kiddo. I'm a senior. Jason Carter raised an eyebrow. So you can't call me kiddo. I'm only 2 years younger than you. I'm not a kiddo. Come on, say who you're looking for. My brother doesn't have that much patience, I busily said. I'm looking for Tyler Taylor. Is he in? Jason Carter raised another eyebrow. Looking for a boy? He's not in my class. You've got the wrong one. I frowned and looked straight at him. You're lying to me. I know he's in this class. Jason Carter had a smirk in his eyes. Pretty smart, and you know I'm lying to you. Asking around so clearly. Like Tyler Taylor? I was really a bit angry. At that time I thought this boy was too inexplicable. I don't need you to call for me. I'll find someone else to help. Angry. Don't be mad. I'll get it for you, he said, standing up and glancing in a certain direction of the classroom, then turning back to me. Tyler Taylor isn't here. I looked at him skeptically, disbelief in my eyes. He laughed softly. Don't believe me. He really didn't show up. See for yourself if you don't believe me. He leaned over and let me look in, and when I did, no one was here. I don't know where my brother has gone wild. He's obviously gone out earlier than I did. So you can just tell me where he is. He glanced at the bento in my hand and then casually pointed to the spot closest to the trash can. I frowned and pinched my nose as I walked over and set my lunchbox down. Jason Carter watched my movements with amusement. The eyes were curved in a particularly nice way. Walking to the door, I whispered to him, thanks, and then took a step away. Suddenly, he teased at my back, and a fucking thank you. Good boy, kiddo. I heard him. I felt like he was insulting me. Who wouldn't say thank you? I'm just a good girl on the outside. But in reality, I'm a spoiled young lady, pretentious and grumpy by my dad. Jason Carter picked up his cell phone and looked at the game, which had ended at some point, with the word failure displayed on the screen. He pressed his tongue against his teeth, then looked up at me and shouted, "Hey, kiddo." I didn't have the heart to stop and look back at him. Mouth cocked up. The corners of Jason Carter's mouth curled slightly. Tyler Taylor is too low for you too. Someone else like him. I blushed. What was he talking about? And he said it so loudly that everyone around me looked over. He also said that my brother is LOW. My temper flared, and I said to him, "You're the one who's low. He's my brother." Jason Carter froze for a moment, and I turned around so quickly that I didn't see his eyes darken. When he realized I was Tyler Taylor's sister, my grades were really bad, and I was thinking that if my family was so rich, I'd just go back to my dad's old age. My brother also got poor grades. So we all got into Crestwood High by throwing money at it. My dad donated a building to the school and supported many students. He got us into the first class, which had the strongest faculty. First class was the best no matter what grade, but it was mostly kids from rich families, and Jason Carter was the surprise in there. He got in on merit, and I heard that he was first in his class from freshman to junior year. And he set Crestwood High records every year, breaking the level directly to close the gap with second. To be honest, I didn't believe Jason Carter when I heard his grades were so good. When I looked at his face, I thought he was an uneducated punk like my brother. Besides, I heard that good students don't always sit in the front rows. It's not like him to sit in the same row as my brother. When I mentioned him to my brother looked disdainful and exhaled a smoke ring. Him, you think he's somebody. His father was a murderer, sentenced to death and in debt, and Jason Carter's mom, who used to be a saleswoman, was no good either and ran off the day after his dad went in. Now Jason Carter is in debt all by himself. My brother looked at my shocked face and pinched my face. I tell you, don't be interested in him just because he's good looking. He's a man who plays with his life when he's ruthless. Don't get too close to him. I can't beat him, said my brother. Where is he? I'm just asking. He's the one who made me laugh the last time I brought you a lunchbox, annoying as hell. I beamed and slapped my brother's hand away. My first impression of Jason Carter was not good, and I was inquiring about him purely out of curiosity. Jason Carter was a real tough guy. In the first class, being poor was ostracized. Not to mention he was the child of a murderer, so I heard that when he first arrived at Crestwood High, the 3-grade bosses had to teach him a lesson. But he didn't take it personally. He went to school when he was supposed to, and worked when he was supposed to. He had 3 grades, and not one of them beat him, and he stomped the senior big man on the ground in front of a crowd of people, pressing cigarette butts into the senior big man's face one at a time. Jason Carter slapped him in the face with a smile on his face. You know, I'm the son of a murderer too. I've killed people and I'm not bad. Don't mess with me. I'm afraid I'll accidentally waste you. From then on at Crestwood High, everyone who saw Jason Carter, who did not call out Brother Jiang good, but Jason Carter was very strange. He never ganged up on anyone. He just wanted to study hard. When I heard about this, I was so scared that I tried to remember if I had messed with him last time. I decided that if I met him next time I would go around him, but I never thought, my father he found me a tutor, let me follow the teacher on weekends. I heard that he was a good learner. I thought to myself, I'm kidding, is he any better than Jason Carter? When the guy pushed open the door to my room and came in, I looked up without thinking. Jason Carter? My tutor was Jason Carter. And at first I was really scared, sitting at least 3 to 4 meters away from him. Jason Carter looked at me with a pen in his hand while dragging my bench with one hand and pulling me to him. How am I supposed to lecture you if you sit this far away? I stammered. I have good ears. I can hear it. He laughed and looked at me with interest. Tina Taylor, are you afraid of me? I gulped. Why? How could I be afraid? He raised his eyebrows as he saw that I was stuttering. Afraid of what? Afraid I'll hit you. I bit my lip and looked at him without saying anything. I was really afraid of him hitting me. He looked me up and down and spoke playfully. You're still too young. As an older brother, I don't usually make a move on kiddo. Don't be afraid of me. It's kiddo again. Shit. Even though he's tall, I'm not short. So how come it's kiddo? I sat down next to him with an angry face and picked up a pen. Speak. I'll see if you can make me understand. If not, refund. However, Jason Carter is really something. I think he's too suitable to be a teacher. His idea of lecturing is really new. I actually listened to it and got into it. When I reacted, I was so close to him that I was clinging to his arm, and when he looked down to give me his thoughts, the smell of his body rushed into my nostrils at once. It smelled good, minty. I snapped back to my senses and pinched myself. Shit. This fucking adoration. Jason Carter finished me off, and I actually knew how to do a few of the questions. He was really good at it, and he greeted my mom as if he were a good student in front of her. Why Mom cheerfully said to him, it's been hard on Xiao Jiang. My kid is a hard nut to crack. I am difficult. I wouldn't dare to be difficult in front of him. He was mean-looking and had a gangly smile, so I wouldn't dare to be rude in front of him. When Jason Carter left our house, he bent down and whispered in my ear with a smile of amusement, Kiddo, next time you see me, show some respect and call me teacher. How humiliating to call him teacher, I thought in my mind. But the reality was, I waved my hand at him with a good face, Mr. Carter, by dot at that time. I could never have imagined that I would later become a shameless licking dog. I was so spoiled and had such a good and delicate face that I inevitably got into trouble with some of the big sisters from the vocational school next to my school. They blocked me after school, smoked cigarettes in front of me, and told me to give them the money I had on me, then let me go. I am rich, but am not a fool. Then I was young and vigorous, did not experience the social beatings. I thought, come on, who is afraid of fight? I was sent to the beggar will not give them, so I was pressed to the ground by them to beat. Really proper school bullying. Just because I have money. Just as I was screaming about my bad luck, a brick landed on the female hooligan who kicked me the hardest. She cursed. Who the hell is this? Dare to throw a brick at me? We turned our heads in unison. Jason Carter was carrying a bag over one shoulder, a cigarette in his hand. He didn't say a word. He just walked here. The few big sisters who hit me recognized Jason Carter. Their faces changed. Thinking that we were in his way, they hurriedly pulled me up and stepped aside. I am sorry, Jiang. Lessen this little bitches in your way. Well, go up to the other place. Jason Carter still didn't say anything, just walked this way with a not very good face. When he got closer, he scanned up and down the injuries on my body. I have to say, I was really beaten up. If he came a little later, I'm afraid I'll have to stay here. I looked at him pitifully. At least he was my little teacher. I wanted him to take this out on me. Jason Carter grabbed the girl who was pulling me by the collar with one hand and flicked his cigarette ash in her face with the other. Who the hell are you to touch her? Don't touch her. Am not in the habit of not hitting girls. I sat on the floor and looked at him, messing up my hair. Wow. Fighting violence with violence is really cool. At that moment, fireworks were blooming inside me. A young girl's love comes suddenly, but violently. I topped a head of hair with scratched messy hair. Did not say a word behind him. Without saying anything, he silently walked me home. The more contact I had with Jason Carter, the more I liked him. I realized that he wasn't as bad as the school rumors made him out to be. He was actually quite kind, and although he was mean, he was especially patient with me. I had joyfully told my best friend about this discovery, and she analyzed it with me with a serious face. Finally, we came to a conclusion. Jason Carter definitely liked me. What I thought was a silly term of endearment at first, I now hear as his unique term of endearment for me. Kiddo. What a favorite. Jason Carter worked part-time in a bar, and it was a real mess, so he was hired, with him around. The guys didn't make a scene and the girls multiplied. He was bartending at the bar, handsome as hell, stripped of his school uniform and wearing a simple white t-shirt, with a tugging expression that was ascetic and clean in an indescribable way. The girls around him had their eyes on him, but no one dared to go up to him. My brother is not allowed to go to the bar, but that day I secretly wore a small halter dress, painted a colorful lipstick. Do not say. Is really pure. I sat quietly in the next card seat and watched him, following their example with a cigarette in my hand. I didn't think he noticed me, but when a pretty little brother came to toast me and wanted to get to know me, I thought to myself that we were all out to have a good time, and how awkward I would be if I didn't drink. So I smiled with a wintry smile and raised the wine glass in my hand to him, and just as I was about to drink, an exceptionally good-looking hand took the glass from my hand and clinked it against my little brother's glass. Accompanied by the crisp clink of the glass, I saw Jason Carter tilt his head back and drink the wine. The knot in his throat that rolled up and down made me gulp, and before I had a chance to feel anything, the glass was set down very heavily by Jason Carter. I met Jason Carter's eyes, and there was a chill in his eyes. I called out to him carefully, "Jiang, Mr. Carter." Jason Carter didn't even look at me, but swept his eyes gloomily at the little brother next to him. "Jiang, brother Jiang, you've had your drink and you're still standing around if you don't leave. Do you really want to pick her up?" Saying that, he put one hand on my back seat and raised his eyes to look at the little brother, not to mention the little brother. Even I was too scared to say anything. I immediately winked at my little brother. "Go away. Don't hurt me." Little brother ran off and Jason Carter looked down at me and I smiled at him. He didn't buy it, and with a dark face, he pinched the back of my neck and lifted me inside the bar in front of a crowd. I was good as a quail. "Out of your league, Tina Taylor. You dare come to the bar by yourself," he said, taking the varsity jacket he had aside and wrapping me up tightly. I played along and took his jacket off. "Doesn't it look good?" My bestie said. "This one looks great." Jason Carter's eyes darkened as he looked at me, his voice husky. "No." Then he picked up his school jacket and pulled it over me. "Be a good boy and sit there. I'll take you home when I get off work." I looked at him. "Mr. Carter, give me one of your drinks." He didn't say a word, just gave me a look. Under my expectant gaze, he made me a juice. And so that night, there was this strange sight in the bar. A girl in a Crestwood High uniform, sitting inside the bar, her face covered in inappropriate makeup, dutifully sipping her juice, taking a sip and glancing at Jason Carter. Everyone was spreading the word that I was Jason Carter's little girlfriend. I wiggled my feet in the bar and watched Jason Carter, who was bartending, with satisfaction. Because of me, he used to stay at the bar until the wee hours of the morning. But today he was off by 10. I followed him nonchalantly in his school uniform as Jason Carter walked ahead with his hands in his pockets, and I couldn't have been happier to watch his back. When we passed an alley, Jason Carter stopped, and I was just puzzled when a group of stray cats ran out to make out with him. I saw Jason Carter touch them with his hand, then squatted down and took out cat strips from his pocket to feed them in silence. I could tell it wasn't the first time. I should have fed them often. The kittens trusted him. I froze in place. To be honest, I was quite touched in my heart. Because squatting in front of me to feed the cats of the teenager is that everyone sees fighting in the eyes of the vicious Jason Carter, and in his pocket he was carrying cat strips for the stray cats. What to do? I seemed to really like him. Jason Carter, I called softly from behind him. It's teacher. He corrected me as he fed the cat. I smiled a little. Mr. Carter. Say, I like you. I opened my mouth with my eyes bent. He didn't look back at me, and for a brief moment of silence that came his cool voice. Doesn't he like me? This isn't what I expected. I muttered disgruntledly, just one. You, come on Jason Carter, I'm confessing my love for you and all you got was a And then what? Nothing. Jason Carter looked back at me, no more. He went back to feeding his cat. I whispered behind him, but I'm so humiliated by it, Jason Carter heard me and let out a low laugh. His voice was so low and strong that it tingled my heart. Tina Taylor. You're too young now. I spoke up in dissatisfaction. No, I'm only 2 years younger than you. Why are you pretending to be an adult? But Jason Carter didn't even look at me, as if all his thoughts were on the stray cats. Tina Taylor, you are still too young. You haven't met many people yet, you don't know what it means to like yet. When you meet more people, you will like the better ones. I skimmed my small mouth and eyed Jason Carter, who was crouching on the floor. Slyly, he was the only one who could talk sense. I ran over to him, and before he could react, I crouched down and hooked one hand around his neck and gave him a kiss on the cheek. He froze. I laughed with a smug smile, crouched on the ground, and his eyes. Now is now, later is later. I know what it means to like. Jason Carter. Do not need you like me. I like you is enough. When I get tired of it, and naturally I don't need your consent, I'll let go myself. Jason Carter looked at me with a surprised face. Forgetting to react, I hooked the corner of my mouth. Mr. Carter. I just kissed you without your consent. It's really my bad. Saying that, I ruffled my hair. You don't like me anyway. So hate me. Liking and hating me has to take up the same thing, right? After saying that, I didn't care how he would react and got up and walked forward on my own. I was afraid that if I didn't walk, I wouldn't be able to withstand Jason Carter's anger. I walked in front of him all the way, with fast steps, and Jason Carter slowly followed behind me until I reached the door of my house. I didn't look back at him. I didn't dare at all. After the impulse was over, all that was left was embarrassment and regret. How am I going to get along with him in the future? Don't look at me, talking so much, tugging. My toes are already digging through my shoes. I didn't even say goodbye. I just opened the door and ran into my room. I was on the second floor, quietly looking down through the window. I saw that Jason Carter was still standing in front of my house, his face unreadable as he leaned against a tree and lit a cigarette. Suddenly, as if sensing something, he looked up toward the second floor, and all at once I crouched with my back against the wall. By the time I got up to look again, he was gone. I grimaced, not very happy. I thought Jason Carter and I were going to have an awkward time together from now on. But I didn't realize that I was the only one who seemed to care about the confession thing. He came to tutor me over the weekend as usual, as if nothing had happened between us before. It's just that between that tone of voice, there was a politeness and attachment that made people particularly uncomfortable. He lectured me carefully, holding a pen and drawing me auxiliary lines on the paper. I propped my head on my hand and stared straight at him. He deliberately ignored my sight and continued to lecture me. After a long time had passed, he put down the pen, sighed, and asked me helplessly, Tina Taylor, are you listening? Looking at each other, I hooked the corner of my mouth into a smile and spoke quietly. Jason Carter, you're such a wimp. As soon as the words left my mouth, I could see the forced anger in his eyes. There was an abyss in his dark eyes that I couldn't look into. I don't know where I got the courage at that time. Obviously, Jason Carter was on the verge of blowing up. I even ignored his anger and stepped on the stool and sat across his lap. I gamely bit on his lip, and he pushed me away in pain. Tina Taylor, have you had enough? No? I bristled, tears suddenly welling up in my eyes, and I couldn't stop them. I cried. Goon, what are you pretending to be unfamiliar with? If you don't like it, then you don't care. What do you mean by pretending to be unfamiliar with me? You're not Jiang, you're just a wimp. Jason Carter looked at me and suddenly raised his hand to cover my eyes. His voice was so low that it didn't sound like him. Why are you crying? I didn't push his hand away, letting his hand cover my eyes. I said stiffly, I'm not crying. I couldn't see the expression on Jason Carter's face because his hand was blocking my view. I only heard him sigh. Tina Taylor, I come from a bad background. My dad is a murderer. My mom, Before he could finish, I interrupted. So, what's the problem? You're fine. I'd be embarrassed to stand next to you. Honestly, I can't tell you how hard it was for me to hear those words coming out of Jason Carter's mouth. I could deeply feel the sensitivity and inferiority complex in his heart, but he was Jason Carter. The unrivaled presence in people's eyes. I don't know how to express to him that you are you. You are just you. You didn't do anything wrong. It's the prejudice of others and the adults who made the mistakes that are wrong. You didn't kill anyone. You didn't sell yourself out. It's not you who is at fault. But as the words came out of my mouth, I just spoke savagely. Im good my ass, im not good at all. My dad said he wouldn't have even asked my mom to have me if he knew it was a shit like me that was born. Jason Carter, don't make me look down on you. I'm not afraid of that. What are you afraid of? I didn't wait for him to answer before I added. So, Jason Carter want to be my boyfriend? Jason Carter suddenly dropped the hand that was blindfolding me and stared straight at me. He clenched his back teeth, as if he was forcing down some emotion, and suddenly, he ran his fingers through my hair, and his big hand imprisoned the back of my head. Tina Taylor, I'm a person who recognizes death, and if I become your boyfriend, I will never let go of you for the rest of my life, unless I die. You still want me to be your boyfriend? My voice trembled as I locked eyes with him. Yes. Jason Carter's eyes rolled with raging emotions. Can I kiss you? I nodded softly and he circled my waist, his big hand holding the back of my head down. Jason Carter tilts his head back and kisses me passionately. Tina Taylor, don't let go of my hand back there. The husky voice sealed in my mouth along with his hot breath. I hugged him back. Okay, I realized that Jason Carter, he enjoyed spending time with me, but what was the point of tutoring me every day? It wasn't at all what I expected. He was obviously a school bully. Why was he so well behaved in real life? During summer vacation, Jason Carter and my dad said he still wanted to come to my house to be my teacher. How inconvenient is that? So I refused. And every day I found a reason to go out and then went to Jason Carter's house. I'd heard about his life before. It wasn't a secret at school. His father went in his junior year, and that's when he had to pay off that assload of debt for his father all by himself. So, I thought Jason Carter should be especially poor, and thought of giving him that little pot of money I'd saved up since I was a kid, and telling him to stop working so many jobs and being my tutor and bartending at the bar. But I didn't realize that he was not poor at all. Whoever said he was poor really should have come to see how big the house Jason Carter lived in was. Jason Carter is a great student and he's very good at computers. He often writes code for some companies, develops software. In the circle has been a little famous. Those should not belong to his debt. He has long been paid off. I asked him, you're not short of money. Why do you still work in a bar? He said, I have nothing to do anyway. To kill time. I was the only one who was foolish enough to consider someone else's pastime as a job to support my family. What can I say about my relationship with Jason Carter? We were in perfect harmony. When he's busy and I have nothing to do, I'll sit on the couch with my legs crossed, flipping through his books and spying on him. Sometimes I would seriously revise my homework, and I especially liked the sound of his keyboard, which easily calmed me down. I would lie obediently on the little desk Jason Carter had bought for me and work out puzzles on a piece of paper, sometimes muttering from time to time. When I couldn't figure it out, I'd subconsciously frown and chew on my pencil. Jason Carter would always get up and stand behind me to watch me do my math. He was obviously writing code 1 second, but the next he could notice me. I still blushed uncharacteristically when he leaned over to explain a problem to me, and I couldn't control the tingling of my scalp when his hot breath hit the top of my head. What to do? This man is a natural teaser. Jason Carter sees my reddened ears and holds his forehead and laughs softly with a bit of a gangly grin. Tina Taylor, what's going on in your head that your ears are so red? Saying that, he raised his hand and pinched the back of my head. The cold touch of the fingers was especially clear, making the back of my neck tingled. My head dropped even lower, a marked difference from the smug and pampered me at the beginning. Jason Carter laughed out softly, and there was undisguised pleasure in his smile. Baby, you're too young now. Don't always think about the things I can't do to you yet, I retorted, blushing. But what to do? I was so eaten up by him that no matter how many times I started over, I would still be shy in the same place. Jason Carter has obviously favored me in particular, but I actually still suffer from it. He was too good in my eyes, and about him I didn't seem to know much. He hadn't told me about his past, and he kept it pretty much under wraps. All about him was what I had heard. I hid my emotions well because I didn't want to show the slightest bit of unease. I was afraid of denying his steadfastness in loving me, not to be messed with. A man who would wear an apron and change his mind to cook me good food. I especially like to kiss the notched eyebrow on Jason Carter's brow, and I stroke it again and again, telling him that I once read a book that said that people born with a notched eyebrow are especially bitter throughout their lives. Jason Carter told me that if he had known he was going to meet me, he would have recognized all the pain. I couldn't help but be touched, but perhaps he was born with complete certainty about everything. That's why his careless and calm demeanor contrasted with my nervousness. It was as if I wasn't as sure as I had been at the beginning that he loved me, and the first time I like a person, under the arrogance hides my own difficult to face the sensitivity. I cannot understand why I would have such a period of suffering, but perhaps young love is a time to be firm in the midst of the faltering, and a time to try to be as good as the person you like. Jason Carter was guaranteed admission to one of the best colleges in the country, and I was just a sophomore in high school when he left for college. The night before we parted ways, he gave me a ride home. I looked up at him in front of the tree in front of my house, and the knot in my throat that rolled up and down was so sexy that I couldn't hold back a kiss on my tiptoes. His eyes darkened and darkened as he looked at me and picked me up like a child. I leaned my back against a tree and looked down at him. Jason Carter rubbed my ear and his voice was low. "Good girl, I can't let you go either." I closed my eyes a moment before he was about to kiss me, and he laughed out softly, coaxing me. "Tina Taylor, look at me." A low, nice voice accompanied the hot kiss. I don't know how long it took, but I gasped slightly as Jason Carter touched his hand to my fluttering eyelashes. "Kiddo, grow up fast. Tease me before you're of age, and your brother will die by your hand." Listening to his helplessness with a hint of favor, I retorted with a stiff upper lip. "I'm just 2 years younger than you." "Not young." Jason Carter arched his eyebrows. "Well, big friend, Jason Carter went to the best university and I studied like crazy to catch up with him. Maybe that's the power of love. I end those many moments when I was studying at night. It was only because I was on the phone with Jason Carter that I managed to keep going. Finally, I got into the same college as Jason Carter, the best college. My parents were so happy that they cried, saying that the Buddha had revealed himself and that I had stepped on dog shit to do so well, but they didn't know that getting into the school had cost me half my life. Who wasn't even smart? What? I was going to get in that I was going to stand with Jason Carter. On my first day of college, I became famous throughout the school. A picture sent me to the hot list on the school's posting board. The crowd was amazed that Jason Carter, who was usually unapproachable, was bending over and patiently coaxing a little girl sitting on a suitcase to drink water. The little girl was me, a new face to them. That time, because I saw a freshman asked Jason Carter for contact information, although I didn't get it, but I still twisted my head angry. Jason Carter wiped the sweat off my forehead and leaned over to coax me to drink some water so I wouldn't get thirsty. This scene was accidentally photographed, and in the photo I was pouting, especially petulant, while Jason Carter was full of indulgence. And so, with one photo, everyone knew that the Jason Carter who was no good to anyone turned out to be long in the making. It was a petite girl. That time Jason Carter was already a junior in college. He was preparing for a very important competition. I accompanied him every day, but on the eve of the competition, some rival posted the news that Jason Carter had a murderous father, and everyone was in an uproar. Jason Carter was supposed to be the most likely winner of the award, but he was brushed aside because of this news. When I found out, I felt it was especially unfair to why Jason Carter was so good. Why couldn't people see it? My eyes were so red from crying. Jason Carter carefully wiped my tears. "Why are you crying? This kind of small thing is not worth crying." I sobbed while talking about unfairness. Jason Carter hooked a diffident smile. "Don't worry, strength will crush all unfair means." He told me that he had been developing a software for the past 2 years, and it would soon be available on the market, and he was sure that he would be able to establish a firm foothold in the market with it. He didn't care if he won the contest or not. Jason Carter and I were talking about his future plans. And I was there every step of the way, and why Jason Carter was curbing his cynicism and trying to be better, but God can't see the good in people, and it played a big joke on me, and why family's company found a huge hole in their paychecks. And it was my dad's best friend who took all of the company's money and left my dad with a huge pile of debt. The Taylor Group went bankrupt and was found to have a lot of problems, all because of my dad's best friend. But my dad was the clear signatory on all of it. My dad, who had been a good man all his life, was forced to jump off a building moments before the police came to my stupid brother, in defense of my mom, was beaten to death by the workers who came to collect the debt. They were too angry, so they took my brother's life directly. As my brother lay soundless on the floor, my mom cried in particular despair, and the angry workers snapped out of it and started to feel scared. It happened so fast that I didn't have time to react. At the time, there was nothing else I could do. I paid what I could, but the hole was too big for me to be able to patch it up with my clothes and food. My father's former business partners shut us out, afraid to get involved. I had no choice but to RUN. My first thought was, I mustn't get my Jason Carter involved. He's just starting out, he's getting better. I mustn't get him involved. Why Jason Carter was just about to step out of the abyss. How could I let him step into another abyss because of me? So, I took my mom and fled to a foreign country, a particularly obscure one, and cut my ties with him clean. When Taylor Group was still around, I had my family to pamper me, while abroad I couldn't find a place to call home with my mom. Mom's mental state was particularly bad, and I was afraid she wouldn't be able to hold on and leave me, but in the end, life was hard, and it was hard for me and my mom to even eat with the money we had, let alone take my mom to the doctor. I took her to live in a very shabby little rented house. I went out early and came home late every day, doing some particularly odd jobs, because I didn't even graduate from college, so I couldn't find a good job. I went to serve dishes, which I couldn't do well as the dainty young lady I used to be. I was embarrassed by people, and to make ends meet I whispered and apologized and begged them not to complain about me. I needed the job. I was laughed at and had soup thrown at me, and I laughed at those unkind laughs and ignored them, but my mom was used to loving me. How could she not see the exhaustion and aggression hidden under that smiling face when I came home? She knew that I had suffered outside, in order not to let her worry about it, so she was alone to hold in front of her to pretend that I had a good day today. Mom smiled at me and said, RTT is awesome. I thought I was doing a good job of pretending, but my mom saw the brokenness under my mask. And I failed to see the dismay hidden in her eyes. One day, it was a very normal day that I will always remember. I bought beef and came back, wanting to learn how to make beef for my mom. We hadn't had a good meal in a long time that day. Because of this beef, I called my mom with joy in my voice, but I called out so many times, and my mom didn't answer me. I thought she was asleep, so I searched for the recipe on the internet and started learning it myself. My hands were scalded with many blisters, but finally the beef was ready, and I happily called my mom to get up and eat. It was then that I realized that my mom's hands were already cold, and there was a new bottle of sleeping pills at the foot of both of our beds. She had already left me. Those days were the saddest for me. It was like I was all of a sudden relieved and didn't know what to do. I stayed in my rented house for a few days, staring dead at the pictures I had saved from the school posting earlier. I cried so much that no one would ever coax me to drink water again. How things turned around was when I was starving and all scruffy and went out looking for food. While being chased away, I met Joshua Summers, who ruffled my disheveled hair and looked surprised. You're beautiful, he said. I looked at him coldly, like a hedgehog, and he patiently smoothed the invisible thorns on my body. He smiled frankly. Such a beautiful girl shouldn't live like this. The people who love you will be sad. I stared at him blankly. People who love me. Tears welled up in my eyes. The people who love me. If I live like this, the people who love me will be sad. At that time, I thought to myself, people like me are used to living a life of luxury. I shouldn't rot in the muds. I took Joshua Summers' hand and held it out to me. When I asked him why he helped me, he raised his eyebrows and said, the stubbornness hidden in your eyes was especially charming at that time. I exhaled a smoke ring and scolded him with a laugh. Silly to pretty. With an unspoken charm in my good looks, I had Joshua Summers to take care of me, so I climbed up the modeling ladder as recklessly as a plant gets water. I've changed so much. And I've been able to make my way through the complexities of the world of fame and fortune. The old Tina Taylor who used to say what she had to say has turned into this hypocritical model. I maneuvered around the so-called bosses, and thanks to Joshua Summers, I was still clean, or at least I held my own. Except for being taken advantage of a little bit. 6 years later, I was firmly established in the modeling world, but in the end, I could no longer be seen as I used to be. I had changed so much that I learned to smoke, Joshua Summers said. The way I hold a cigarette in my big waves is particularly flavorful. I smiled and didn't say anything. I used to not be allowed to be smoked at all, and when I first graduated from high school, Jason Carter caught me sneaking a cigarette, and he put it out with a smirk on his face. I looked at him with a smile on my face, and he kissed me for a while, but in a foreign country, no one cared about me. I couldn't stop thinking about him in that silent night, and I couldn't go on without cigarettes. But then, surprisingly, I gradually got used to it, and that feeling was hidden in the most obscure place in my heart, which I didn't dare to touch. Just every time I heard Jason Carter's name, my heart would tremble gently. He had really become very good, and the company he founded had become famous in a few years' time. The name Jason Carter had also become a gold-wrapped presence in the upper echelons of society, and he seemed to be doing well in the time I had been away. He was getting more and more power and wanted to find out where I was, which he was perfectly capable of doing. 3 years earlier, he had checked me out. Joshua Summers looked worried. Someone in the country is checking you out, and it's someone big. Oh, you know who it is? I lifted my eyes with a calm face. It should be a former enemy of my family. I lied to Joshua Summers, who was worried that I was being investigated and righteously stopped me, but after another year, Jason Carter's power was getting bigger and bigger. Joshua Summers couldn't stop it. I smiled and said it was fine, let him check. He's already in such a high position. What kind of people and what kind of things haven't he seen before? He must have seen too many people like me. Jason Carter found out that I was here. Perhaps he also found out clearly about my past in the past few years. After he found out about me, Jason Carter really didn't move. I know him too well. I let go of his hand first. Jason Carter is a man who recognizes death. His pride won't allow him to come after me, not to mention that the Jason Carter I used to chase after so much was no match for the current me. I was delusional myself. I've become the kind of woman he hates the most, and he won't allow himself to fall for a second one. Joshua Summers' company was doing quite well overseas, and he wanted to enter the domestic market. Joshua Summers asked me, "TT, what's your hometown like?" I listened and seriously recalled. Those painful memories flashed by, and the rest was all good. I hooked my lips and said to Joshua Summers, "It's especially beautiful." Joshua Summers' eyes lit up. "Do you want to go back with me and kill a piece of heaven? I'll open a company. You continue your flower path, and when my company gets bigger, I'll put you on the biggest stage." Meeting his glowing eyes, I laughed a little, shook out the ashes of my cigarette, and grabbed my bag. "Sure, let's go now. The place I've been running away from for 6 years, I just went back to so easily. The circle of modeling. I mixed well. In foreign countries, I have been mixed to the point that everyone who sees me has to call a sister. But at home, Joshua Summers and I didn't have to start from scratch. But after all, it wasn't our home turf. And I still had to bow down to the capitalists. I had to go to the dinners with those capitalists, but it was fine. But it was just the effort of a fake smile, which I had long gotten used to. I had thought about meeting Jason Carter again many times, but I didn't expect to meet him at the first dinner. The Jason Carter I knew didn't even bother to go to these dinners. After all, he was in a position where few people could afford to invite him. Everyone had to look at his face. That day, I knocked on the door in my strapless red dress, and the laughter inside stopped. All eyes were on me, and of all the people, I caught a glimpse of Jason Carter. I hadn't seen him in 6 years, but his eyebrows and eyes were even deeper, and just sitting there made people submit to him involuntarily. The aura of a higher power. Jason Carter heard the noise and raised his eyes and swept me a glance. Cold and cool is the first thing I felt when I met his eyes. He didn't make much of an expression, only sweeping his eyes away from me. his fingers clasping lightly on the table, not really changing his mood at my arrival. I smiled a little, ignoring the awe in the eyes of the various company bosses, scanning the small stars present. There were quite a few of them. I slightly hooked my lips. Sorry guys, I just came back to China and still don't quite know my way around. I came late. I'll punish myself with a drink. I came late. There were no more seats for me to choose. I could only force myself to sit down on the only empty seat, coincidentally. Exactly face to face with Jason Carter. The people at the table probably didn't expect Jason Carter to come. It's hard to even see him on a regular basis. But today was an unexpected pleasure. So they didn't care about being at the dinner table and desperately wanted to get in touch with Jason Carter. People from various companies wanted to have a chance to cooperate with Jason Carter's company. And these starlets wanted to embrace his golden thighs and walk horizontally in the entertainment industry. Everyone was trying to impress him, but I don't know if it's just me. Jason Carter's eyes always fall on me intentionally or unintentionally. When he stares at people without expression, it makes people feel uncomfortable. Jason Carter has really changed a lot. His face no longer has the previous diffident and gangster. Instead, his expression was light with a hint of indifference, making it difficult to figure out his emotions. The table is full of complimentary voices. I snorted a laugh, self-concerned with a glass of wine to drink. As I drank, those familiar and distant memories returned to my mind at once. Suddenly, someone next to me gently touched glasses with me. The sound of the glasses clinking brought me back to my senses, and almost subconsciously, I revealed a decent smile. Sitting next to me was a very elegant man. He wore a pair of gold-rimmed glasses, elegant with a bit of a sense of svelte defeat. He laughed softly, came close to me, and said in a voice that only the two of us could hear, "I have long heard of Ms. Ting's great name, but I didn't know that Ms. Ting and CEO Jason Carter knew each other," he said. He smiled a harmless smile, but there was a clear calculation in his eyes. Almost everyone at the table was busy currying favor with Jason Carter. Only this man intentionally chewed the fat with me in front of Jason Carter. I smiled. Where do you think? CEO Jason Carter, such a person, how can I, a small model who just returned to the country, can get to know? Sir, don't know where I heard the joke. I can't afford it. The man raised his eyebrows. I thought I knew him. CEO Jason Carter never attends this kind of dinner party. Today is Miss Ting's first dinner party back in China, and CEO Jason Carter happens to attend it. It's really a misunderstanding. I don't know if it's just me, but CEO Jason Carter looks at us as if he's very unhappy. That's not upset. The coldness Jason Carter was emitting at the moment made it hard to ignore. The man next to me gave me a very uncomfortable feeling, so I didn't really want to talk to him, but he was still talking to himself. Miss Ting is often abroad. I don't know if you know that a long time ago, a city seems to have a Taylor group, but the end is quite tragic. I heard that the chairman of the Taylor Group was forced to jump off the building that year, he said. He said while not moving to check me out. Checking me out. Although I didn't know his purpose. His smarmy behavior made me very reluctant to make it easy for him. I looked at him, hooked my lips, and leaned back lazily into my chair, drinking the wine from my glass. Then, tilting her head and propping up her face, she looked at him with a smile and used a voice that was just right for everyone to hear. I didn't expect to get to know you, sir, just after returning to China. It's really Tina Taylor's honor, but I have something else to do today, so I can't continue chatting with you, sir. Saying that, with a piece of my business card clutched in his fingers, he pushed it to him in front of everyone. This is my card. Sir must remember to look for me. After saying that, I stood up and glanced at Jason Carter's terribly grim face in my afterglow. The man hadn't reacted to why I was suddenly like this. I ruffled my hair, smiled with a charming smile, and bent down to come close to his ear. Do you think it's a coincidence that the one who jumped off the building is my father? Oh, and I forgot to tell you, Jason Carter is a very jealous man, and I am the apple of his eye, he said. Then, carrying his bag, he left with a smile on his face. When I left the room, I breathed a long sigh of relief. This is not a dinner. This is a men banquet. Anyway, Jason Carter is here today. Everyone is busy complimenting him, and I can't open the circle of a city. So there's no point in staying any longer. I was the last to arrive and the first to leave. I drank and could not drive. I wanted to call Joshua Summers and ask him to pick me up, but the cell phone was not yet out. Just walked to the corner of the corridor. Behind me came the sound of footsteps. I turned around, and there was a grim-looking Jason Carter. I narrowed my eyes slightly, not wanting to walk with him, but I was wearing heels shoes and sooner or later he would have to catch up with me. So I simply stopped at the corner to take a breather and waited for him to leave before I did. But Jason Carter stopped straight in front of me. The faint smell of tobacco came to my face. I breathed a sigh of relief, could not help but take a step back. Jason Carter let out a soft huff of exasperated laughter. He clasps my wrist and wraps his arm around my waist, pulling me into a hug. "Tina Taylor, you knew to come back." Jason Carter pressed me against the wall, restraining my jaw. "Why are you pretending you don't know me and making love to another man in front of me, pretending not to know me?" He was the one who pretended not to know me in the first place. "Tina Taylor, I want an explanation." Familiar yet unfamiliar scent, mixed with a woman's perfume that makes my heart burn for no reason. Explanation? How else can I explain? What is there that he can't find out? But things have already happened. We can't go back to the old days long ago. I looked away. "CEO Jason Carter, please behave yourself. My boyfriend is coming to pick me up later. He'll get the wrong idea." The sound of CEO Jason Carter made the air pressure around him go cold. Jason Carter gritted his back teeth, his big hand against the back of my head. "Out of breath, Tina Taylor. I've been waiting for you for a few years. And now you're telling me you have a boyfriend? Where'd you get a boyfriend from that you won't bring out to meet me, your ex-boyfriend?" He and I looked at each other. The ends of his eyes reddened as if he was trying his hardest to restrain something. I wanted to push him away, just force. His patience seems to be exhausted at once. Leaning in to kiss me on the lips, his flavor broke forcefully into my territory. The touch of lips meeting lips tugging at nerves throughout my body. My legs go weak and he smoothly wraps his arms around my waist, panting slightly as his forehead touches mine. "Tina Taylor, break up with him, or I won't let him go." It was a very low voice, containing a thick threat. I frowned. "Jason Carter, will you be reasonable?" He reached out and rubbed my earlobe, his tone light. "I'm sick of waiting for you for 6 years in a city. Your family's new guy does know how to love you, letting you out this late to socialize with men." "Jason Carter." I stiffened. Jason Carter's eyes were dark, as if he were saying to himself, "Don't overestimate my sanity." In the end, I couldn't get through to that Joshua Summers guy, and I was shoved into the car with Jason Carter's smelly face and drove myself to the bottom of my apartment. His face was horribly cold, and I didn't dare ask him how he knew the address of my apartment. Dropped me off downstairs and drove off without even looking at me. It had been a month since my meeting with Jason Carter when Joshua Summers came to talk to me. Joshua Summers told me that not only was his company being targeted, but there was another unlucky person who had been under Jason Carter's thumb as well. I raised my eyebrows. "Who is it?" He was gloating. "I heard that he is a rich second generation. He is a software development company, originally quite promising, but I don't know in which dinner party he got into trouble with Jason Carter." Jason Carter's company originally started as a software development company, and it can be called a giant in this area. It's easy for him to suppress a company like that. No, that unlucky guy can't even turn over now. He's already on the verge of bankruptcy. I listened and reacted. "Oh, it's that guy with the gold-rimmed glasses." I snorted. "Serves him right." Joshua Summers left my apartment with a determined look on his face. "TT, we are in this relationship now. If you're in trouble, you don't have to think about my company. I can still hold on. Really. Don't go to Jason Carter. Don't offend Jason Carter for me." I smiled a helpless smile. "I know, I'll go to him when I have time to settle it." "How can this be a good idea?" "Don't be so mean. I don't know what kind of person you are. Just go." I have to get my beauty sleep. When I woke up, it was only 3:30 p.m. I counted the time, dressed up and drove to Jason Carter's office. Following the directions, I pulled into the Jason Carter parking lot. Arriving at the front desk, I smiled and knocked on the front desk. "Hello. I'm looking for your CEO, Jason Carter." The receptionist looked up and asked me politely, "May I ask if you have an appointment, miss?" "No, I'm sorry, ma'am, but you can't see our chairman without an appointment. However, you can leave your information and I will talk to the Secretary General at that time." I nodded in understanding. "My name is Tina Taylor. Please ask for me when the time comes." Okay. Tina Taylor, Tina Taylor. The receptionist slammed up her volume. Unbelievingly, she asked me again. Miss, you said, your name is Tina Taylor. I nodded. Yes, what? Is it? Miss Tina, if you're looking for Chairman Jiang, you can go straight up to the 13th floor. His office is there. Just take the CEO Jason Carter's special elevator. It'll greet you from my side. I didn't expect things to turn around so quickly. I thought she was my little fan and opened a back door for me, so I took off my sunglasses and gave her a flying kiss. Thanks. I took the elevator all the way up. And looking down from the elevator, I could see the general appearance of the city. It's changed a lot, just like Jason Carter's company. A building that didn't exist before now towers over the city, from nothing to something. Jason Carter must have worked very hard in the past few years. When I got to the 13th floor, I followed the corridor and found Jason Carter's office, just as I stood in front of the door, just as I was about to raise my hand to knock. A very tease-sounding female voice came from inside. Jace, are you coming to my birthday party? Depends on the time. Jason Carter's voice was still cold, but those who were familiar with him knew that if they were not familiar with him, he would hardly reply. Jace, it's my 20th birthday party, come on. My dad said he's going to throw me a big party, so come and show your support. The young girl's tone rose. The young girl's tone rose, and it was a petulant 1.20 years old, the perfect age for Jason Carter to be hiding a girl. I knocked on the door and pushed my way in. Without waiting for an answer, Jason Carter is in front of the desk to grade the documents, the little girl hands propped up on the corner of the desk, talking to herself. They both looked up at the sound. I hooked my lips and smiled. I'm sorry, it's a bad day. The little girl frowned at me with hostility in her eyes. Who are you? I raised my eyebrows and looked at Jason Carter, CEO Jason Carter's old friend. The girl looked at me as if she remembered something. You're Tina Taylor, so in that famous. The little girl sneered. Jace's ex-girlfriend. The girl in front of me is only 20 years old, but she can't hide her thoughts on her face, and it's clear what's on her mind through her expression. She thinks I'm a rival. However, the young girl's temperament is just like mine. It's the result of being spoiled by someone. I laughed a little, my voice soft. Yeah, CEO Jason Carter's ex-girlfriend. That's in the past. What are you doing here with Jace? You're not welcome here. The little girl had a whole patronizing look about her, blunt and open. I looked at Jason Carter and Jason Carter looked at me. He didn't say a word, and as I looked into his dark eyes, it was hard to guess what he was thinking at the moment. I couldn't tell you what I was feeling inside, and subconsciously put on the smile I was supposed to have in front of people. Jason Carter frowned slightly. I didn't look at the little girl, but only addressed Jason Carter. Why am I here? That would be a good question too. Ask the CEO, Jason Carter. What does that mean? I didn't realize that after 6 years have passed, CEO Jason Carter's heart has become so small that he won't even spare a newly opened small company. Jason Carter's aura turned cold in an instant. The little girl was scared and carefully called him, Jace. Jason Carter didn't answer her back, but stared straight at me. So, you came to see me today because of your new guide. I raised an eyebrow. What else? CEO Jason Carter thought. You think I'm targeting Joshua Summers? Because of you? Tina Taylor, you're taking yourself too seriously. I don't need a reason to target someone. In the end, Jason Carter and I parted ways, and as I walked out the door of the Carter Group, I took a deep breath and held my forehead. I didn't control my emotions today. I crossed the line I shouldn't have. Joshua Summers, I'm sorry, I seem to have done you more harm than good. When I arrived in the city, there were more or less announcements, and I picked and chose, finally choosing a little-known fashion show. On Saturday, when I took my little assistant to the show, I got to meet a bunch of famous models in the city. However, there is a self-proclaimed city of a sister. Look at me seems to be a little bad, but I did not put her too much in the eyes. With the ability to speak but my little assistant urged me to tell me not to mess with her. I heard that she is very hard backstage, so she dared to be so arrogant. She said so. I also left a heart. Try not to contact with her. But in the end, the stage walk, I was set as the finale. She was not happy, and when the person in charge left, she started to be gloomy. I just came to a city can be the grand finale. I do not know what the basis. Am not one to be messed with. I smiled with a smug look on my face. Why? Of course it's based on merit. On the day of the official performance, the first sister of a city didn't turn out to be anything, and my stage order was still the grand finale. When I was putting on my makeup in the dressing room, some of the models suddenly started to get excited. Is it true? Am I right? CEO Jason Carter is actually here. He's never participated in an event like this before. You're right. CEO Jason Carter is here. I've seen it. He's sitting right in front of the stage, the best VIP seat. Right. I also saw the general manager was beside him with a smile on his face, usually such a noble person. But when he saw CEO Jason Carter, he still had to stick to his face. Let's go. Later, it's worth it to be seen by CEO Jason Carter. He's really handsome. They were so excited that they couldn't stop talking. I listened from the side and raised my eyebrows. Jason Carter is here. Jason Carter is here. He is really the meat and potatoes of the high society in the city. The fashion show started. I was the last to appear, wearing a dress co-designed by a domestic designer. When the lights hit my body, I felt that I must be glowing at that moment. I was very dazzling on the stage. This show is not only the first appearance of this dress, but also my first appearance in China. I'm going to walk well. Jason Carter sat in front of the stage. The long stage, I step by step. Surprisingly, let me have a kind of I seem to be step by step towards Jason Carter's illusion, and his eyes fall on me hot. I smiled, and for once, it was especially genuine, but I didn't have long to be smug before the stage had an accident. And just as I was finally standing closest to Jason Carter, the lights came loose. Moments before it fell, I heard everyone gasp, and Jason Carter, who was closest to me, anxiously leapt onto the stage and rolled off with me in his arms. It happened so fast that everyone reacted and rushed around, asking Jason Carter if he was okay. Jason Carter didn't answer them. He just held me up and down, his voice shaking. Tina Taylor, are you okay? Where does it hurt? Obviously, I have often encountered this kind of thing abroad, and I can get over it on my own every time, but somehow, as soon as Jason Carter asked me, I felt a sudden pain in my twisted foot. My foot is twisted. There was a surprising amount of aggravation in my tone, which was so unlike me. Jason Carter checked out my foot and set me down on a stool for the doctor to take care of it. There were a lot of people gathered around, most of them marveling at the fact that I knew Jason Carter. They whispered and speculated. Jason Carter was fuming. He looked at the chief with cold eyes. Who did this? The general manager dared not look up to meet his eyes. Jason Carter took out the posture of a meeting in the company, a very strong sense of oppression. The chief director said carefully, "Jiang, CEO Jason Carter, I am not sure." Jason Carter loosened his tie, and his face was gloomy. Then check for me if you can't find out. You all shouldn't be in this business anymore. The person in charge wiped his sweat. Okay, I'll go check it out. So, a large group of people went to check the surveillance again, and soon, they found out that the first sister of the city was the one who made the mistake, relying on her own. Backstage, she thought that she wouldn't be able to do anything about a newcomer like me who came back from abroad, and she didn't even bother to deal with the CCTV. She was found out, trembling up. Yes, I'm sorry, CEO Jason Carter. I didn't know Ms. Ting was your person. If I knew, I would not dare to do so even if I had the guts. I won't dare to do it next time. Spare me for once, he said. Jason Carter looked at her coldly. The person who I don't even care to be fierce. You say move. A sister city one froze for a moment when she heard this, and fiercely knelt down. CEO Jason Carter, I'm sorry, I won't dare to do it again. Please spare me, just this once. For the sake of Mr. Lin, he has a cooperation with you. I am his person. For his sake, can you spare me this time? Jason Carter looked at her. Condescendingly spare you? Does the person you are talking about have face with me? A sister city sat helplessly on the floor and was dragged out, when only the two of us were left in the lounge. I sat on the cushion staring at my injured foot in disbelief as Jason Carter leaned against the wall, lighting a cigarette in silence. After a long time, he sighed and looked at me. Where's that new guy of yours? Why didn't he come to keep you company? I lowered my head without looking at him, my voice muffled. He's not my boyfriend. Jason Carter heard this and froze in place, reacting by putting his cigarette out and walking over to me. You lied to me? I tilted my head at him. I'm sorry. Oh, what's your relationship with him? Jason Carter asked offhandedly. But I could still hear the apprehension in his tone. I explained seriously. "I'm besties with Joshua Summers," he told me. "He likes guys." Perhaps he could see that I was too tired to tilt my head and neck. He squatted down and put his hands on his knees. His voice was very low. "Then why don't you want me anymore?" I felt a sharp pain in my heart, but avoided his stare and didn't say anything. He gritted his teeth and raised his hand to pinch my cheeks, but he didn't want to force it. "Tina Taylor, give me an explanation. It doesn't matter if you say I can't take it or let it go. It doesn't matter if you think I'm pestering you. I've said it before. I recognize death," said. He paused for a moment and then continued. "So, Tina Taylor, I just want an explanation." The voice was hoarse as hell. Jason Carter had bent over, as if he was telling me, "Explain to me. I'll forgive you if you explain to me." But the confrontation ended in my silence. I couldn't explain my low self-esteem. Jason Carter dropped me off at my apartment that day, and as I got out of the car and was about to enter the neighborhood, he called out to me again, "Tina Taylor." I looked back at him, and he was silent for a moment before finally saying in a twisted voice, "It's okay, go on up and get better." Joshua Summers came to see me 3 days later and started yelling as soon as he walked in the door, "TT, are you hurt?" I smiled. "It's nothing, just a minor injury. By the way, how's your company doing?" I hurt him badly last time. The mention of the company Joshua Summers was all smiles. "Thanks to you," I said. I had a question mark on my face. TT, you don't know, just a few days ago my company almost went out of business. And that Jason Carter somehow increased his efforts to suppress me in the middle of the day. Just when I thought I couldn't hold on any longer, there was a turnaround. Jason Carter didn't suppress me anymore and even sent me several big projects. "I think it must be because of you." "What, you?" And he made up again. "No, not again." I was too weak to look at Joshua Summers' grateful face. Joshua Summers hated me, so, TT, what are you afraid of? I know you too well. If you didn't like Jason Carter, you wouldn't have come back at all. Joshua Summers' words made me lurch. So my mind was this obvious, but 6 years away felt like a chasm that couldn't be crossed. Jason Carter was better than ever, he was getting better all the time, but me, I wasn't good enough for him before. Let alone now. I am not the Tina Taylor I used to be. I used to say what I wanted to say, but now I'm the one who smiles hypocritically and laughs at the people I hate. I'll bend over backwards knowing those people don't have the best intentions for me. Those once-seen pleasing social circles, I felt sick to my own stomach. But for 6 years, I moved up through the ranks under these circumstances. How could I stand beside him when he was clean and I was covered in mud, and yet I still came back with a death wish? Shame on me. Joshua Summers sensed my emotions and slammed on my shoulder. TT, I won't allow you to feel inferior. It's not like you. Jason Carter likes you at first glance. Don't have any worries. Just show the way you are now. The one who likes you, no matter how long it takes, will still like you. Joshua Summers' words, I do not touch for sure, but I cannot say what I am afraid of. TT, what do you think? I couldn't whisper any louder. I let go of him first. 6 years, I let go first. Who am I to turn back? Joshua Summers' expression was serious. Isn't it just 6 years? I'm going to find out for you. I'm going to find out these 6 years clearly in front of you. Then you can make a decision. TT, what's the point of going back to China if you keep shrinking in your own shell? Otherwise, do you think Joshua Summers, can open a company anywhere but here? KU, he said, more and more excited. I just see you too beautiful. Can't see you alone. Also can't see you such a wimp. TT, as early as 3 years, we have investigated the scum that caused your family to go bankrupt back then. He was arrested and caught in the net. Some people have hired a lawyer for the dead uncle Ting's name to return his good name. I don't believe that you didn't think about it at all. Jason Carter did this. When Joshua Summers left, he said to me again, TT, I've been telling you to follow me for a long time, but you don't want to. Don't you just like Jason Carter? If you like Jason Carter, then go for it. You're so pretty. You have to give me happiness. Wait, I'll go and check out the last 6 years for you. Joshua Summers said he would find out for me, so he did. It turned out that the day after I fled the country with my mom, Jason Carter came to me with the money. Joshua Summers said that back then, Jason Carter was still in school, And although I hid it from him, he still noticed something different about me. He was so anxious when he found out what had happened to my family that he wanted to do everything he could to help me with the debt my family owed, but the hole is too big. He took out all his savings is not enough, so he found him refused many times the company, while he research and development of 2 years of software sold. That software, although I do not understand, but he had told me in the air, and so on the market. He is enough to stand firm in a city. So, when he was exploded because of his life and maliciously cancelled the qualification of the competition, in the end, he studied 2 years of hard work and ultimately failed to come out. Even he, who never asked for help, asked his lawyer friend to help our family to fight the lawsuit. It hurts so much. Just hearing about it hurts me so much that I didn't want to drag him down, so I ran away, not realizing that I had already dragged him down so completely. Joshua Summers said Jason Carter was ready to come to me when he realized I had already run away with my mom. He was one step too late. How did he come to me with such high hopes? And how did he face the fact that I had already escaped? He was such a proud man that he went around begging for me, and when he finally realized that I had run away, he didn't give up on me and went crazy looking for me, but I did really desperate, and his all contact broken clean, he simply cannot find me. He searched for a long time, finally calmed down and worked his way up the ladder, and finally had the ability to do so, only to find out that I seemed to be doing just fine during the years he was struggling to find me. Then it all came to a screeching halt and never touched anything about me again. By the time Joshua Summers gave me a full and complete account of Jason Carter's 6 years, I had long since burst into tears. I had done him such a disservice, he had said. Tina Taylor, don't let go of me, but I let go of him. Joshua Summers took a tissue and wiped my tears. Don't cry. It's not pretty at all. I looked up at him and grabbed his hand. Jiayu, I want to see Jason Carter. Joshua Summers smiled gently. Don't worry, I've checked for you. He's going to Harper Industries today. I heard that it's the 20th birthday party of Harper Industries' daughter. Jason Carter will be there. Harper Industries' daughter? Don't worry, it's just a little girl. She's no match for you. His father is the one who bought Jason Carter's software. Although the little girl has been pestering him, Jason Carter is so vindictive that he will definitely not be with that little girl. I suddenly remembered. So the little girl in the office that day was her. With that in mind, I was about to get up and head to Harper Industries' villa. Joshua Summers held me back. Don't rush, it's still early before the party starts. Dress up properly. There are many people going to the party. All of them are famous. Let's not lose our momentum. It'll drive you there later. When I got everything ready, Joshua Summers drove me there. When I got out of the car, Joshua Summers gave me a flying kiss and smiled a dangling smile. All the best. I nodded. Countless eyes fell on me as I stepped into the lobby of the party. I was wearing a tight fishtail dress that Joshua Summers had said was exceptionally beautiful. None of them recognized me because I was uninvited. The little girl from Harper Industries spotted me first, and she looked alert. Tina Taylor, I didn't invite you. I ignored her and just looked straight at Jason Carter, who was standing next to her. Jason Carter saw me too. And the emotion in his eyes wavered for a split second as he averted his face to walk away. I stood in front of him and reached out to stop him. He looked at me with a blank expression. Jason Carter is notorious in the circle for not being close to women, and everyone is waiting to see my joke. I didn't bend over backwards or talk too much. I just expressed what was on my mind. I looked at him and asked in all seriousness, Jason Carter, want to get back together with me? Jason Carter froze, and instead of answering me, he slammed down into a crouched. In front of everyone, he crouched down and reached down to take hold of my ankle, examining it closely. He crouched quickly, but I saw his eyes redden at once. Why are you wearing heels again? The party's going to take so long, it's going to hurt. Jason Carter's voice was muffled as he rubbed my ankle. The crowd was all amazed that the man who usually had a calm face in all situations, the Jason Carter who reigned over the shopping mall, would one day bend over for a woman in front of so many people. Everyone did not dare to breathe, staring straight at the side. Everyone thought Jason Carter squatted down to rub my feet, but I was the only one who knew that he was hiding his emotions. My eyes were red as well, and holding back tears, I smiled and asked him, "Mr. Carter, I'm going to ask you one more time. Do you want to get back together with me?" Jason Carter's hand holding my ankle paused and didn't say anything. After a long time, I heard his voice tremble, "Yes." Tears fell down my face in a flash, and I hurriedly wiped them away with both hands, giggling as I told him, "Don't worry, this time, whoever lets go is a puppy." Jason Carter stood up. We reddened each other's eyes. There were too many thousands of words. But in the end, they all turned into a silent stared. He didn't ask me why, nor did he say on what grounds. He actually knew everything about my 6-year past. Jason Carter just reddened his eyes, looked me over and over. And finally his hand clenched tightly and said to me, "Good. Time won't wait for you, but someone will wait for you countless times against time, and if you turn around, he will be there. 6 years. Thank you." Still standing in the same place. Extra Jason Carter. Before I met Tina Taylor, it seemed like my life was always great. My father was an animal who had assaulted and killed an innocent woman, and I had been abused by him since I was a child, and to be honest, I hated him more than anyone. I was dirty. My mom left me and ran away when I was very young. Her job wasn't clean, and she didn't love me, so I felt like I was doomed in my life. I was doomed to not see the light of day because I felt dirty myself. But Tina Taylor said, "You're good. I especially like that. I grew up, and everybody said I was a murderer's kid, and I deserved to die, and everybody looked at me as if they were saying, 'You're dirty.'" She was the only one. She was the only one who said, "Jason Carter, you're clean. You're not dirty at all." She was the only one who looked at me with no malice in her eyes, just a clear, stupid look. I would have hated the city in particular. It was full of bad memories for me. Before I met Tina Taylor, I thought I would go to the farthest school from here, to a place where no one would recognize me. Anyway, one less me in this place wouldn't change anything. I thought, this shitty city, I'll leave and never come back. But Tina Taylor changed everything. I thought. The first time I met her, I was playing a game. She tugged gently on my sleeve with her hand. I ignored her, not even taking my eyes off my phone. She tugged on my sleeve again. I was very impatient. A sentence, "Pull your mom," pull stuck in my mouth, not yet said, was interrupted by her petulant voice. I looked at her hesitantly, stood in front of me, especially a small girl. I thought, this fucking is where to put a good student. School uniforms to wear such a bored. This little thing to look at is also quite let a person itched. So, I got up to tease her mind. But looking at the little girl in front of me is really angry by me. I inexplicably want to give her smooth hair. After she left, I picked up my cell phone and looked at the game that had ended at an unknown time, with the word failure displayed on the screen. My teammates in the game filled the screen with question marks, and I sent a voice message telling them to start another game, and I'll bring you guys back to kill.at. That time, I didn't know that my life would be like that lost game, and I would bow down to the little girl countless times. I wasn't really short of money. At least I had more than enough to live on my own. But when I heard it was to be Tina Taylor's tutor, I didn't hesitate to say yes. Counting on it, I was the one who initiated the approach to her first. When she first showed up at the bar where I worked, I saw her right away, and I forced myself not to approach her for quite some time. I felt I had no right to interfere, but when I saw her drinking with other guys, I couldn't sit still any longer, and I couldn't tell you how uncomfortable I felt. That night, the little girl said she liked me. I didn't respond to her. But she didn't know that my heart couldn't calm down for a long time because of her words. She even kissed me, walking ahead by herself, and if she had looked back then, she would have seen me red from neck to ear tips. But as I drove her home, I calmed down again. She was too nice. Who was I to dabble? But I never missed her tutoring sessions. I tried to restrain my feelings for her, and not getting close to her really took a lot of effort on my part. But she repeatedly approached me and called me a wimp. I then felt that if I backed off any further, I might miss her forever. So I got greedy for once. I made one of the biggest bets I've made since I was a kid at that point. I thought that if I lost her, I might not know how to face the world anymore, because there wouldn't be anyone else who would be as sure of me and as good to me as she was. But I am, as a person, really bad at it. I am not very good at expressing my love for her. But I've heard that little girls seem to like blatant favoritism, but saying I liked it outright wasn't something I learned to do. I just silently wrote her into every plan for my future. I was disturbed when I sensed something was wrong with her, and when she wouldn't talk to me about it, I looked into it myself. When I realized what she was facing, I felt like I couldn't wait a moment. I had to get to her right away. The little girl needed me so. I found the company that had been extending an olive branch to me and sold my 2 years of research. That was the first time I ever bent over backwards to beg, but my kiddo, she didn't wait for me when I went to look for her. She was no longer in the country. I wanted to find her. I searched for her like crazy. I thought, what would she do alone if I wasn't with her at this time? But the little heartless one hid herself so well that I couldn't find a single word about her. I tried to be strong. When I was finally able to find out about her, I learned all about her past in the past few years. I was so heartbroken I could barely breathe. What to do when I wasn't by her side? She had such a hard time living alone. That time, I had only one thought. I had to go to her side immediately. But when I came to the place where she lived, I found out that she had another man with her. It was a white boy, and I couldn't see how he was any better than me. But at that time, my girl was so close to me, but I didn't have the courage to go forward, because for so long I have been absent. And accompanied by her side has been that little white man. I was not with her through those difficult years. I was jealous, but I didn't feel I had any right to see her again. So I fled back to the city, lying to myself that maybe they were just friends and not together. But I never dared to touch the truth. But I couldn't help seeing her. I didn't dare to let her know about me. I just quietly, alone, went to walk the streets where she walked and ate the things she liked. Finally, I waited for the news of Tina Taylor's return. She was back in our city. I researched her itinerary and went to a dinner party I would never have attended before. I sat, particularly contorted, in the middle of a group of people I didn't know very well. I waited to meet my little girl. She's gotten really pretty, and there's almost no sign of the young girl she used to be. I thought about how to talk to her without being too hard on her. But she talked to a strange man. I was so angry and jealous that I couldn't control my emotions and drove her crazy. She told me that the white guy was really her boyfriend. This sentence, as if all of a sudden, gave me a death sentence. I was so flustered that I didn't know what to do. I took all my anger out on that white boy. But the first time Tina Taylor came to the office to find me, it was also because of that little white boy. I was so jealous that I decided that I would make that white boy unable to open a company in a city, and I would force him to leave the country. But I didn't dare to do too much. I was afraid that he would take my kiddo with him. So I've been in self-contradiction. I was always afraid, but when she had the accident on stage, I realized the pain of respiratory arrest. I was so afraid of losing her. I decided at that moment that I was going to get her back from that little white boy. I had to keep her close to me. She hid for 6 years, and I couldn't find her, but I never blamed her. But for 6 years, I wasn't there for her either. I don't know, my little girl, is she blaming me or not? It doesn't matter if she blames me. I'll just keep pestering her. The next time I meet her, I'm gonna tell her, Tina Taylor, turn around. Jason Carter is waiting for you.